What's up, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and Donald Trump takes a ruthless stab at Stephen Colbert while his wife seems to be taking out Hunter, and the Democrats appear to be falling directly into an expertly laid trap where they continue to have to tell Americans that they value the freedoms and perceived rights of aggressive criminals all across this planet, in particular, obviously, in the United States. We're not just talking about illegals. We're talking about hardcore criminals as they continue to melt down about Trump federalizing in D.C., one of his best laid traps in a very long time. And the longer he keeps Democrats whinging and complaining about criminals getting justice, he just might save the midterms. I don't think the midterms were in a great spot before. I know they're a long time away, so a lot could change, but we'll see. Let's take a look at all this. Let's start with the ruthless troll. By the way, our Discord is open. I don't know if you know what Discord is, but it's a chat. It's basically a chat room, 100% free to join. I'm going to leave a link in the description. There's, thousands of my fellow subscribers in here, of your fellow subscribers. I'm going to be spending my time in Discord instead of on X. It's free software. You can have it on your phone, chat with other people. We have a fantasy football league going. We've got costume contests, pumpkin carving contests, all that stuff, totally free. Link in the description. Or you can join as a member on the site to get access directly to me and our members only content as well for just $6 if that's something you want to do. We could use the support. Trump trolls Colbert by taking his primetime job. Donald Trump announced he will be hosting the Kennedy Center Honors this year following Colbert's 3-year hosting streak. Donald Trump took another swipe at fired CBS host Stephen Colbert on Wednesday when he announced that he'll be hosting the Kennedy Center Honors this year following Colbert's multi-year hosting streak. With the announcement, Trump seems to be twisting the knife into his late-night nemesis, who was recently fired from The Late Show, some speculating that his ouster was part of a secret side deal to ensure that Paramount's $8.6 billion merger with Skydance Media was approved by the FCC. Now, let me tell you this. There's absolutely zero evidence of any secret side deal whatsoever. There is no evidence that Trump demanded Colbert be fired. The only evidence that exists is that Colbert was losing north of $50 million a year. And I suspect we're going to see other late night television hosts fall by the wayside too. Now, you could argue perhaps I might be willing to listen to you about a secret side deal if in 2 years, Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, and Seth Meyers and The Daily Show are all still on the air, right? If they all go by the wayside, then I think it's pretty obvious that culturally there's just a shift away from late night television and just more Trump derangement syndrome. Now, what's interesting is they didn't want to hold on until, even the Trump bump could not keep them on the air. So this upcoming election season with no late night television, it's definitely going to be a different feel. Colbert has hosted the Kennedy Center Honors from 2014 to 2016 before he and other celebrities avoided the center in the years that followed after Trump was elected the first time. Trump insisted during his Wednesday announcement that he didn't want to host, but his staff urged him to, noting that he had previously hosted The Apprentice. "I've agreed to host. Do you believe what I have to do?" he said, as he also announced the honorees, which will include Trump-friendly actors like Sylvester Stallone and Kiss. The news that Trump will host the ceremony comes after the shock cancellation of Colbert's Late Show, which Trump took credit for as he mocked the host on social media. "It's really good to see Colbert's show will be canceled," he wrote on the Truth Social last month, and expressed his hope that he played a major part in it. Now, I wouldn't say that he took credit. He just hoped that he had played a major part in it. Now, I will say this much. The Trump derangement syndrome is something that can lead to a temporary boost because you get a ton of positive press from still the mainstream media. That said, it is a short-term gain, long-term pain type of thing. We see this with South Park right now. If South Park releases its 3rd episode next week, Wednesday, and it is yet another Trump thing, all these articles about historic ratings and this, that, and the other thing will not last. and they will begin their slow descent into irrelevance if they choose to continue to have Trump treatment. I mean, if you look at even South Park's Twitter feed, the first and couple of roasts they did of Trump, hundreds of thousands of likes, people saying, ha, 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 ha. The last tweet they put out was largely people saying, hey, do you have another joke? Could you come up with another joke? Conservative accounts, right-leaning accounts, anti-woke accounts, ratioing them in big numbers because eventually people get tired of the joke. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Trump is very meme-worthy. There's a lot of hilarious things he does and says, and there's a lot of things you can make fun of. And I'm not saying that South Park can't even have a little Trumpian reference in most episodes. But if it's going to be entire episodes dedicated to the Trump administration, I'm going to tune out and a lot of other people, not because, we're triggered, but because it's unfunny and most criminally uncreative. It's like the South Park hired the Colbert writers. CBS's Paramount parent company, Paramount was seeking his approval for its $8 billion merger when Colbert was axed. Well, it's also possible that they decided, hey, we don't want to, be a part of this. Again, late night boss reveals huge problem for late night after Colbert cancellation. Paramount's Jeff Shells explains why he supported the move to scrap the Late Show. Wait, I thought it was a secret deal. Oh, well, the Daily Beast wants to put this behind a paywall, but I always use archives because I don't want them to do stealth edits. I want to see the original post as it was posted because I don't believe the left-wing media cannot lie. Paramount's new president, Jeff Shell, has highlighted a huge problem with the current late night show talk show host format following the controversial decision. Late night has a huge problem right now, Shell said, according to Deadline. That Colbert show is popular and has viewing figures on par with predecessor David Letterman's iconic stint at host. However, he in the late night show format is suffering from changing viewing habits and declining ad revenue compared to previous years. The problem is that 80% of viewership is growing on YouTube, Shell said. He explained that since YouTube pays 45 cents on the dollar, television companies cannot make it work economically anymore. Well, I mean, they could. They could just, do what the rest of us do and, have low overhead. Maybe don't have a host that makes $30 million a year. You could, pay him $5 million a year, which basically any YouTuber would be happy to do. There's lots of TDS YouTubers out there, Hassan Piker, who's a streamer, the Young Turks. These people all make $5 million plus a year, and they seem pretty happy. Happy with the money, I guess. I mean, they're buying multi-million-dollar mansions and Porsches and doing photo spreads for GQ. The late night show cancellation sparked major backlash. Not really. Again, Cheeks specifically, the CEO said, the challenge in late night show is that the advertising marketplace is in significant secular decline. We are huge fans of Colbert. We love the show. Unfortunately, the economics made it a challenge for us to keep going forward. The late night show costs around $40 million a year and costs more than $100 million annually to produce, including Colbert's $15 to $20 million salary per year. I mean, if Colbert wanted to stay on the show, why wouldn't he take $5 million and figure out a different way to make money like everybody else does? On top of that, by the way, the Democrats, Trump's DC move forces Democrats to again grapple with crime. President Trump's use of federal resources to combat crime in the nation's capital is forcing Democrats to once again address the issue of law and order, something that has been a vulnerability for them in recent elections. Again, I don't know why it is. It absolutely shouldn't be. I mean, we're not talking about something, everybody who isn't like a totally ideologically captured, like neoliberal would like to feel safe in their home. I mean, there's a reason these liberals like Hassan Piker live in gated communities, right? There's a reason that the leader of BLM moved into a 99.9% white neighborhood with a gate, right? Everybody wants to feel safe. That's not a Republican or Democrat thing. And, here you say Republicans see the message as a winning one, as signs suggest voters are now concerned about crime regardless. leading some Democrats to warn their party against falling in the same political trap as they see have damaged them in the past. My advice to Democrats is don't take the bait, says Mike Nellis, a Democrat strategist and former, why did that move? Senior advisor to Kamala Harris. Well, I wouldn't be listening to him. Nellis noted that voters could still feel strongly about crime, even as statistics show improvement in metropolitan areas like D.C., thereby opening up Democrats to easy attacks from the GOP. But we know that Democrats, part of their stupidity is that they held on to this letting men into women's bathrooms nonsense. And it was one of the Trump administration's most effective ads. You know, he's for you, she's for they, them, right? One of the best taglines ever. And other than Make America Great Again, which is probably the best of my lifetime of any presidential campaign. Trump is fundamentally putting the Democrats in the we're pro-crime. And that's the best place to be because they are. You can't go to San Francisco. If you go to San Francisco, they say, leave your windows open, leave your trunk open. Otherwise, somebody's going to break into your car. And that will be your fault because you didn't change how you live. That's your fault. You're the one that has to adjust to the criminals. You know, 95% of people never commit any ongoing regular crime, okay? But 95% of people have to live their lives around the 5% that do. Now, you know, people commit crimes, but I'm talking about like the persistent, constant crime that we're seeing in Democrat-run cities. You know, Republicans have touted the president's announcement, pointing to their own experiences in the city. Again, the president's critics and many Democrats have pointed to statistics showing that aggressive crime is down in the nation capital. People don't actually believe that. There's a great quote. There's lies, there's damn lies, and then there's statistics, okay? Those people, you know, who you want to quote statistics, that will not defeat what people see every day in the streets, right? Yes, crime is down, but so is how we report it. So is how, you know, we see this in Europe, right? It's like illegal actually to talk about, you know, crimes by race in some countries over there. I feel like someone got a ticket or arrested or maybe ousted in their political position. I believe it was a woman who shared that on Twitter. I can't remember exactly, but help me out in the comments. But I mean, in America now, when people are committing aggressive crimes, what's happening is woke DAs are pleading them down to lesser charges. In some cases, charges that they didn't even do, right? So if they stab somebody, they're getting pled down to like, you know, loitering or something like that. That's really why those crime statistics are changing. It's not that it's any safer out there. I guarantee it. So Trump's masterclass pitting the Democrats as pro-crime just could save the midterms. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like on it. If you haven't yet, please subscribe or follow down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.